Okay, if you're thinking of buying a vacation home in 2024, I want to give you 5 tips that you should think about as you make that move. Okay, now if we haven't met, hey, I'm Chia Fawale. I am a pediatric anesthesiologist and I love to chat about all things real estate, investing, building wealth. And if you're new here, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, before you even think, okay, like I was not that person that was looking for a vacation home. I didn't think anything was missing from my life, barely even going on vacation myself. So this whole thing about vacation homes for me, it's been like in the last few years. As a matter of fact, somewhere in my mind, I kind of like smirked at those who had vacation homes. I'm like, ooh, that's a liability, blah, 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 until we got Doris. Now, if you're new here, welcome, welcome. You haven't heard about Doris yet. Doris was the first lakefront property that we bought a few years ago when we did our strong pivot to short-term rentals. And I'll tell you in a few all the reasons why I love Doris. But suffice it to say for now that when we got Doris, it was almost like, wait, where has this been my entire life? Okay. Because I mean, it was literally, lakefront. You just sit there for a while, just watching the water, and just the peace washes over you. And I'm like, oh, this is such an unexpected side effect of investing in real estate that will literally like drive up there just to get some work done in peace and tranquility. So if you're thinking about buying a vacation home, I want to share with you today a few things you should think about as you're thinking about that purchase. The first thing is, why should you even be thinking about it? Like, why is it a noble thing to be thinking about buying a vacation home? If you are a high earner, if you are, a professional of some sort in a, high paying field, you probably work a decent amount, and your kids may or may not see you a lot, depending on exactly where, what you do. So having a place that you dedicate really to just relaxation for yourself, for your family, for even the extended family, a place that your kids can almost like associate with wealth and abundance, right? It's not a bad thing at all. It also helps your own mental health, being able to just take out some time to relax. Now, you already knew that part, right? But you may or may not have heard about the tax advantages that you could also secure by simply buying a vacation home and operating it as a short-term rental. If you haven't heard about that, now I have an entire video on my channel dedicated to just talking about the tax benefits of owning and operating a short-term rental. So I'm not going to go in depth into that here, but that means that you could effectively take a chunk of what you were previously offering to Uncle Sam and turn it into a place that you can go relax. The next thing is that you could also do this in such a way that the property not only pays for itself. In other words, it's no longer a liability for you, but now also brings in additional income from the short-term rental side of it, which means that now you really have no excuse to not own a vacation home. All right. But if you're going to if your goal is going to be to own this vacation home in a way that is not a liability and actually an asset, there are some things you must keep in mind if you're going to make this happen. Number one is that you want to have it in a great location. Now, they say in real estate, location, 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 and they are not lying, because people are going to stay in your place. If you're going to offer the property as a short-term rental when you are not there, the location has got to be on point. This means that if you're going to buy a vacation home, let's say, for example, in an area near the lake, you really want to kind of think about the lake as the major amenity. So how close can you get to the lake so that when people come to ask, like, can I rent your place? They see that you are literally on the water, for example, that you have great views, for example, that they're just like a couple of steps from the water. If you're at the beach, right, depending on what beach you're talking here, if you can be directly waterfront, if it's within your budget, then do it. If not, you want to be, somewhere close by, so that at least when you say we're beach, you're saying, we're steps from the water, steps from the beach or whatever. And you want to, even if you're going to be a few steps back or a few tiers back from actually being on waterfront, if you had 2 options, get the one that has a view of the water. Like, don't skimp on those things, because those are the things that will bring you renters when it's time. Number 2 is, because you're buying this as a vacation home, you may not know that you can actually buy it with the 10% down second home occupancy loan. For a lot of people, it's like, oh, what did you just say? Yes, 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 absolutely. You can get this with a 10% down occupancy loan, which means you don't have to cough out 20 to 25% if you're going to buy this as a second home loan. Now, because you're going to use a second home loan, this means that you need to spend, because you'll probably be signing this on your mortgage, you need to spend some time in the property. But it's a vacation home, right? So you're already planning to do that anyway. Number 3 is you want to operate the property professionally. What did I say? You want to operate the property professionally. Now, don't hear what I didn't say. I did not say hire out the management of your property to a property management company. That is not what I said. I said you get to operate the property professionally. This means that when you set up your listing on the different platforms, on Airbnb, on VRBO, that it looks like chef's kiss. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks beautiful. The pictures are professional. The pictures say, come on over and relax. You've got amenities that make people feel like welcome and relax. Now, guess what? If you set it up professionally, guess what's going to happen too? You get to enjoy a professionally run vacation home when it's time for you to use it, right? That means that you buy towels that are lush and just succulent and soft, that when you go visit your property, now you're using towels that are lush and succulent and soft. That means that when you have your bed layout, you try to put in a king bed if you can, so that when you go to use the property yourself, guess what? You get to enjoy a beautiful, succulent, and relaxing king bed. Okay, guess what? Can you put a hot tub in there? Yes. If it's in your budget, sure, throw it in there. Your guests will love it. But now you get to pamper yourself when you go to use your professionally run and operated vacation home, right? Now, I'm telling you this part because these are the side effects that I wasn't anticipating when we began this journey with our short-term rentals, right? That now, in the process of owning short-term rentals, we now own vacation homes that we ourselves get to use, that our families can congregate at during the major holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and whatever. And we now get to create lasting memories with the family, bonding with everyone, just because we put in the work to make the property a top-notch short-term rental. Now we get to enjoy it ourselves. Number 4 is you got to know your numbers. You got to know your numbers. Okay, so we began this conversation talking about buying the property as a vacation home, right? Now, historically, if you bought a vacation home, it sat empty while you weren't there, right? It just, maybe a few friends and family got to use it and they thanked you, or maybe they gave you a few dollars here and there. But if you're going to do this and you want to turn it into like an investment, this could legitimately be a good source of income for you. Okay. Now, if the primary goal was to have it as a place for your own relaxation, for some people, this may mean that they're not really thinking about the property as a cash cow. And that's actually a comfortable place to be. But for me personally, I would rather that it cash flows, right? So even if you're buying as a vacation home, it's still a good idea for you to not have to pay for it at the end of the month, every single month. I mean, nothing wrong with that. If I buy a house that pays for itself, my vacations are free. Yeah. Right? So run the numbers, right? And if you have multiple places that you have in mind that you could possibly vacation at, or you could possibly, think of actually acquiring an asset that gets to stay in the family and stay over generations, then pick the one that makes more money, right? Pick the one that makes you more money so that that property can be held, through thick and thin into the next generation. Because part of what can truncate your plan of generational wealth passing on properties to your children's children is if the property becomes a burden for those who are holding or managing it. But if the property is generating income and actually like putting money back in your pocket, the chances of that property staying through generations increases significantly. This is why, going back to the last point that we made, getting the location right, getting the amenities right, those things are very, very important as you're thinking about getting that vacation home. So the first numbers that you should know are that A, you should not overpay. Make sure you look around and you get what's known as the comps. So identify the comparable properties in the area that have sold in the last 3 to 6 months and try to stay somewhere around there. Preferably, you even want to get your own property lower so that you build in equity from day one. But if you're going to pay market price, at least know what the actual market value is for that property. Number two, know what your profit and loss projections are, okay? How do you do this? Now, we have a calculator, a short-term rental calculator that you can use to kind of see, how much money a property could make. You can use a tool like AirDNA to see how much money a property could make on the different short-term rental platforms if you rent it out. And now you can see, okay, that's the income, but your carrying costs, okay? So your carrying costs will be your taxes, your insurance, your maintenance, your management, your utilities, your repairs. You also include your cleaning fees since it'll be a short-term rental and you'll be turning over between guests. You also want to include something there for your supplies. So if you get to host guests, then, things like the coffee creamer and the sugar and, tea and, all those little things, tissue paper that you would need to stock the property with. And when you now do this, now you have a clear idea of how much the property will make you or could cost you, depending on where you choose to buy the property. Okay, now, the third thing under knowing your numbers is also identifying the highest and best use of the property. What do I mean by this? I mean that let's say you look at the property and right now it is designed and set up as a 3-bedroom property, okay? But when you look on the different platforms, and by the way, we have a course that, depending on when you're watching this, is either available right now or actually a newer version of it's coming out really soon. Just kind of the link below to see how you can get it. But depending on how the property is set up, you can make more with the same house just by rearranging things. I'll give you an example. We had a short-term rental that we got down in Dallas, Texas. It was a 1-bedroom apartment, okay? Now, anybody seeing a 1-bedroom apartment will say, okay, well, you're going to have a living room and then you have the bedroom and then there'll be 1 bed in the bedroom, right? So how many people will that sleep? 2 people in the bedroom, maybe? Maybe if you stretch it, 1 person can sleep on the couch. Guess what? I got 8 people. 8. How do you do 8 on your fingers? How do you do 8? 8 people. I got 8 people to sleep. And people will come into our apartment and say, oh my gosh, it's tastefully designed. Yeah. Right? Because we were able to just rearrange things and make it such that 8 people could comfortably sleep in what was a 1-bedroom apartment. Okay? So think about the highest and best use of the property that you're buying so that you can maximize not only the space, but the effectiveness of the property as an amazingly professionally run vacation rental. The 5th thing that I would like to suggest is that if you're buying a home as a vacation rental, that you make sure you have reserves, okay? So we've gone through what may have seemed like the heyday of short-term rentals, and now you have more of like a more normal market, right? Which means you have to be like top-notch in the neighborhood, totally doable, okay? You cannot be a Me Too property, totally doable, okay? But certain markets have started to see what people call saturation. I personally don't believe that you can be saturated in the market, but that's a rant for a different day. But you do not want to be caught with your pants down with your property or have to sell your property like a fire sale. If you do the first things that I mentioned, picking the location very well and doing all the market research and all of that, you should be able to take a profit from the short-term rental. However, you want to make sure that if you're buying a property primarily with the goal of running it as your personal vacation home, then you should also make sure that you have the reserves to carry the property if for any reason the property does not rent. Now, why else is this important? Because that also allows you the flexibility to do with the property as you choose. It also allows you to, to do things like renovations and all of that before the property is ready. It keeps you from being under duress that you now take an average property to market as against a top-notch property to market. The difference can be like night and day. Is that you can have in one market a property making $97,000 and in the same market a property making like $47,000 or $15,000. I want to be on the higher end. Okay. And then this one, I think I already said it before, but it is take good pictures. Did I say take good pictures? Take absolutely gorgeous pictures, okay? Invest in professional photography, not just any professional taking the pictures. A professional that understands short-term rental photography is the person that you want taking those pictures of your vacation home. And these tips that I just gave you, these are the tips that will help you Buy that vacation rental or the vacation home for yourself and allow that property not only be a liability for you, but actually put money in your pocket. Oh, wait. We're not done yet. This is probably the most important thing. And I, funny enough, saved it for the exit. Make sure if you're going to use the strategies that I just shared with you, before you buy that property, check and make sure that short-term rentals are allowed in the market. Okay? Because not everywhere that you would want your vacation home will allow for short-term rentals. And if they don't allow for short-term rentals, then this is now a pure vacation home with no rental ability. Okay? Nothing wrong with a pure vacation home. Just understand what you're buying. But if you can get a vacation home that is also a short-term rental, why wouldn't you? Right? I hope you found it useful. And if you did, click the like button down there, subscribe to the channel, share this with a friend, and don't forget, you can buy a vacation home that saves you on taxes, saves you significantly on taxes. I just had a friend send me a text. She got tax savings of $70,000 because of 2 vacation homes that she bought last year. All right. So this is real money. Okay. It can save you on taxes, it can pay for itself, and it can put money back in your pocket. If you would like any help getting started with any and all of that, check out our links below, and I will see you on the other side.